Assalamu alaikum, students at Jakarta Islamic School. My name is Mr. Aren, and I will be here today to help you with your English. So today what I want to talk to you about first is your family. So I want to talk to you about members of your family, how we can describe our family, who is who in our family. So very often, people will come to you and ask you, how many people are in your family? Now, some of you may have huge families, some of you may have tiny families. Me, myself, I don't have a very big family at all. And obviously they're not asking how many people are in your family in total. They're not asking about your great grandparents or your great auntie. They're just asking about what we call the immediate family, and maybe some of your extended family. Now, if you don't know what that means, I want to explain that to you today. So let's start off by talking about our immediate family. What is an immediate family? An immediate family is someone that you live with in your house. So it could be your mother, your father, your brothers or sisters. They are called your immediate family. So, as we explained previously, the people that you live with in your home are your immediate family. So you'll have your father or your dad, and then your mother or your mum, and then your siblings. So your siblings are your brothers or sisters, and don't forget yourself. Let's talk about my family. So my family are still living in England. I don't live with them anymore. I moved out a very long time ago. So I have my mother. My mother's name is Melanie. My father's name is very close to mine. My father's name is Darren. I have a brother. I have a younger brother, or a little brother. And I have a little sister, a younger sister. So I have two younger siblings. That makes me the eldest. So I'm their big brother. If you have a brother that was born before you or a sister that was born before you, they will be your elder brother or your elder sister. Or in basic general English, we would say your big brother, your big sister. So if someone asks you, how many siblings do you have? So they're asking you, how many brothers and sisters do you have? So I would say I have a younger brother and a younger sister. You could actually say about what they do for a living if it engages in more conversation. So you could say, I have a younger sister that's now in university, and I have a younger brother that's just graduated from high school. Or if you have an elder brother or an elder sister, you could say, I have a big brother or an elder brother that works for the bank. I have an older sister or an elder sister or a big sister that is a chef, for example. So they are what we call our immediate family. Like I said, family that live with us at home. If you're not already old enough to move away from your parents. Immediate family. So mother, father, your parents, and your siblings, and yourself. They are immediate family. So now I want to move on to what we call paternal family. Paternal family. Paternal means that it comes from your father's side. Paternal. So let's move on to that. Let's move on to paternal. So we'll start off by saying, let's use this for example, Mr. and Mrs. Simpson. Everyone has seen the Simpsons, but we will use their name as an example. Mr. and Mrs. Simpson. They are my father's parents. So to me, they are my grandparents. So you have my father, Darren, and then you have his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Simpson. So Mr. and Mrs. Simpson are my grandparents. So my dad has a brother. He has a younger brother. His name is John. Now John is married to someone called Maria. Now this is my dad's brother and Mr. and Mrs. Simpson's other son. So to me, he is my uncle and his wife is my auntie. So they are my paternal uncle and auntie. If they have a baby, or let's say they have a baby called Alan. Alan is then my cousin. It's John's son, John and Maria's son. So that makes them my cousin, my paternal cousin. So also on my father's side, we have someone called Jenny. Jenny is my father's sister. My father's sister and Mr. and Mrs. Simpson's daughter. So Jenny, she would be my aunt or auntie. She is my dad's sister, so she is paternal. She is my paternal auntie. Jenny is related to, not related to, Jenny is married to someone called William. So if Jenny is married to William, Jenny, my paternal aunt, if she is married to William, he then also becomes my uncle. If they have a child, he or she will also be my paternal cousin, like we described before. So now we've finished with my father's side of the family, we will move on to my mother's side of the family. My mother's side is called the maternal, with an M, not a P. Father's side is paternal, with a P. Mother's side is maternal, with an M. So my mother's parents are Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. They are my mother's parents, therefore they are my grandparents, my maternal grandparents. Now my mother also has a brother. She has an older brother. He is in the military. His name is Daniel. He has a wife called Maria. So you have Daniel and Maria. Daniel is my maternal uncle and Maria is my maternal auntie. They also have a daughter. Her name is Susan and she is my maternal cousin. So that's our extended family, paternal and maternal. Paternal on your father's side, maternal on your mother's side. So now we've discussed about the basics of your immediate family and your extended family. We've discussed about paternal and maternal. Now I want to go into a little more detail. So let's start with my father's side. So we have your father's side, my father's side. Let's say Mr. and Mrs. Simpson. They are my father's parents. They are my grandparents. Now, to my mother, or let's start, to my father, they are his parents. It's his mother or mum and his father, his dad. To my mum, they are the father-in-law and mother-in-law. So the reason it's in-law is because my mother has married my father, so their parents become in-laws. That also works the same with my dad's brother or my dad's sister. They would be the brother-in-law or sister-in-law. So this also works the same way around with your father. So your mother's parents, her mum and dad, because your mother and father are married, your mother's parents become your father's in-laws. So his mother-in-law or his father-in-law. And that also works the same with his brother or sister. With her brother or sister. They become your dad's in-laws. Brother-in-law, sister-in-law. Now, we've spoken about your cousin. Your cousin is your aunt or your uncle's child. So it may be your aunt or your uncle's son or daughter. Now, to your father, because it is his brother, let's say your father's brother has a daughter. If your father's brother has a daughter, that is called your niece, your father's niece. So your cousin would be your father's niece. Now, if your father's brother has a son, that becomes your father's nephew. So it will still be your cousin, but it will be your father's niece or your father's nephew. And that would be the same on your mother's side. So if your mother's sister had a baby boy, it will be your cousin, but it will be your mother's nephew. And the same if your mother's sister had a daughter. It will still be your cousin, but it will be your mother's niece. So now we've discussed about your immediate family and your extended family. Now, I don't want to go into talking about your distant family. Your distant family is people that are related to your grandparents, so maybe your grandparents' brother or your grandparents' sister. So they would be called your great auntie or your great uncle, and then their children would be called your great cousins. And it's a lot to go into. You could have a family of 400, or you could have a family of just 15. But I don't want to go too much into that. So we've discussed your cousins, your father's nieces, your father's nephews, If your sister or your brother has a son or a daughter, they will become your niece or your nephew. So let's say if my sister had a daughter, my sister has a daughter called Isabel, and she is my niece. Now, my child would be my son or daughter, and that will be my sister's niece or nephew. So that's all we have time for today when discussing about family. Your immediate family, your paternal, your maternal, extended family. So I hope this helps you, and have a great day. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.